Susan Vorpal.
Here.
Thanks.
All right. Now, is there any other members of the public that would like to speak that haven't signed up here yet? No? Okay. Are you okay. All right, very good. Carol Buda?
Good evening. I was here a couple of weeks ago about the waterfowl shooting, and after listening...
Carol, tell us who you are, please.
Carol Buda.
Thank you.
Somebody took my pen.
I went back and I read the Dongan patent, did some other research, and the Dongan patent clearly gives jurisdiction over waterfowl shooting to the trustees. It's not contested. The town board also feels the trustees have jurisdiction. So there are two issues. One is what can the trustees do on this issue, and the other is what should the trustees do, or would they do? And to answer something that was brought up last time, it's a perfect parallel. For example, the DEC sets the parameters for what's allowed for waterfowl hunting or deer hunting. So with deer hunting, there was a more than 50-year policy of not allowing big game gun hunting on weekends during deer season, which they lifted about 5-6 years ago. However, the state parks in Montauk, for example, decided that they would continue the ban on big game gun hunting in certain portions of the state park to accommodate the needs of other people and for safety, things like that. So the fact that the DEC sets the season and allows certain behavior doesn't mean that every property owner, everyone who has to allow it. If I'm a private property owner, I don't have to allow people to hunt on my property. As the people who hold the jurisdiction, you have that power. So I think that was pretty clear. So the second issue is what should you do? And I don't believe this should be an issue of winners and losers, the hunters win and everybody else loses, or vice versa. I think it's really a matter, and there's a very small percentage of people who hunt, although generally this community supports that tradition, respects that tradition. That's, I think, the right word. Accommodates, respects. And what we're asking is just that similar respect is given to that vast majority of the community that doesn't hunt. And I think there are several ways that could be addressed, and we would hope that you would have a serious discussion about it. For example, you have the power to restrict either the time or the place or both. So the one-day hunting concept, apparently hunters did not like at all because they want to be able to hunt any day of the week. If that were the case, then you could restrict the place. For example, as I mentioned last time, 3 Mile Harbor is probably surrounded by the densest year-round community in East Hampton. If that were restricted, you know, people wanted, they could hunt in Napeague, they could hunt in Northwest Harbor. There are many other places they could hunt 7 days a week. So that would be an accommodation that could be made to help the rest of the community with something that is very bothersome to some people. And as I read last time, I brought it again. In the September newsletter of the DEC, they understand that there are conflicts created because this is not a low-impact activity like clamming or fishing. The noise is heard for miles. And it asks the hunters to try to avoid conflict with property owners and try to be reasonable. I think that's where I see this, is this should be something that does not divide the community, but rather a way of going forward, accommodating and respecting different lifestyles. And I know a lot of hunters, some have told me, they're very concerned about the future of hunting, probably for good reason, because less and less people are hunting, and there's a lot of anti-gun stuff going around, and children are being taught to, you know, be very negative about that. I think, even though personally I don't like hunting, I think that for hunting going forward, it's probably better to reach an accommodation, because if there's an accommodation, the issue goes away. If this is going to be something that's going to be continually inflicted on the community, I think you're going to find more and more controversy. I know for some reason last winter was terrible. And one person shooting from Will Curl or in the harbor can affect hundreds of people.
But Carol,
Can you use the microphone, otherwise, I'm sorry, I
Yeah.
can't hear.
Carol, I am a hunter. I don't hunt much now, okay, but I was very involved with Boy Scouts for many years. We took a lot of our local youth, we put them through the gun safety program, we got them their hunting license. It actually makes me feel good that those kids are not getting into trouble. They're out doing something that first and foremost is legal. It's part of the culture here. And I'm sympathetic to the anti-hunting community looking for weekends off for hunting, but you got to understand something, that most of those hunters may only have the weekends to go hunting. And when we look at the waterfowl season, it's very short. It's literally only a month.
No, that's not true.
Well, a little more than that. There's not that.
Different types of birds.
Okay,
from-
but the point is, there's really not all that much time, and the rest of the time, the community gets full access to those areas, and when you start talking about, well, the hunters could move on certain days to Napeague or here or there, the fact is, a lot of these guys come to the trustees, they get permits to put blinds in specific spots, which we're very careful about policing and making sure the fields that they're shooting out, that there's no problems with homeowners and stuff. But I got to be honest with you, we live in a community where we're getting to the point where there is zero tolerance for our neighbors. Because as soon as somebody does something that is not what you perceive to be the right thing, they're the enemy. And I can't look at my fellow people in this community and say, I'm sorry. I know the hunting's illegal, but we've had some people come to us and ask us not to hunt on weekends or not to do this or that. What I would like to propose is that we keep it as is for the moment, and before we get to basically the beginning of the hunting season, perhaps next year we could have a discussion way early to see how we could accommodate these things. But I really, you got to understand, the hunters are members of the public, okay? And what the trustees are about is public access to things, and that public access is to include hunting.
Okay, what's kind of distressing is that I wonder if you even listened to what I said, because what I've said is, this is not anti-hunting, and whatever, we're not living in the 18th century anymore. People have developed, East Hampton has been developed. Even in my lifetime, it's been developed tremendously, and it's continuing to develop. And you keep bringing people here. So it's, you want respect for your lifestyle, and I've said I respect that. The fact that I don't like hunting is not the issue here. This is not an anti-hunting proposal as much as it is asking for, you want your rights respected, and I respect that. And I'm saying there's a larger community, the non-hunting community, which is affected by your sport, and can some accommodation be made to respect everybody's rights? Yes, you're a member of the public, but I'm a member of the public. And my neighbors and people who complain, we're all members of the public. So what I'm saying to you is there some way, in terms of traveling to do what you do, I mean, look at the dog park. There are people who come from Montauk and Wainscott to use the dog park. It's not in their backyard. There aren't dog parks all over the place, but they go because that's where they have to go to engage in the activity that they want to engage in. And I'm just saying that I suggested 3 Mile Harbor. I know that there's hunting there because I live near it and it goes on all the time. And when you say it's a short season, it's not. For a particular bird, it might be a month, but there is gun hunting for birds. Starts in September, and I think it doesn't end until May. It goes, there's one season after another after another. I mean, I have the hunting guide.
The waterfowl
What's
that
that?
hunters pursue in 3 Mile Harbor are really considered more puddle ducks.
If you don't
black
speak
duck.
into the microphone, I'm sorry, I really can't hear.
The types of waterfowl that hunters typically pursue in 3 Mile Harbor are considered puddle ducks, like mallards and black ducks, and they have the shortest season. There hasn't been any hunting to date in 3 Mile Harbor.
No, there hasn't been this year.
Okay, so we're into November, so please
Okay.
let me finish, because I listened to you
Okay.
very carefully. There hasn't been any hunting yet. You will start to hear hunting the week before Thanksgiving. It will run till the week after Thanksgiving, then it stops. Then it will go for another 2 weeks or so. That's when you have the heaviest concentration of hunting in 3 Mile Harbor. Out in Gardiner's Bay and in Long Island Sound, you have sea duck hunting. That is a much longer season, but it doesn't tend to impact our inshore community.
So how do you explain the pre-dawn gun noise we heard for months last winter?
It could be
Gardiner's
skeet,
Bay, you could have hunting going on out in Gardiner's Bay, which is New York State
Skeet
jurisdiction.
clay
Yeah, my dad
pigeons.
used
And, and
Right,
when
right.
skeet shooters are shooting at, let's say, Sammy's Beach, if they're above the high water mark, or, I mean, who's responsible? Who controls that?
Well, general discharge of firearms has certain guidelines, so that's different than hunting. There's different, you know. that's
All I can
all different
say
animals.
is that there was, last winter was really, there was an awful lot of gun noise, and I don't think it was hunters with deer. First of all, the deer hunting season was, gun season is much
January.
shorter, and I know when that is.
That's January.
And they don't tend to do pop, 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 you know, go on and on and on and on and on. So
And actually, the hunting, very
you're basically
very
saying you won't
rarely.
even consider this, because I
But
think some of the things you said
my
really were
pos-
kind of
Carol,
harsh.
my personal position, and we can poll the whole board, my personal position is I feel that the hunters have exactly the same rights as the general public. The reason they place seasons on the hunting is to maintain the waterfowl populations in a stable and a healthy manner. And I don't feel any need to basically dissuade or discourage our hunters. Because you know what? To me, it's a very wholesome activity. You know, the people that are hunting are not out, for the most part, not out doing anything wrong. I mean, they get up early in the morning, they're engaged in this activity that they love, and I've got to respect that. Even if I don't want to be the one out there hunting it,
The only-
I am
We're not
not
talking about the
inclined.
morality of it or anything like that. The only issue that we're raising is the fact that, unlike other activities people engage in, gun noise, especially over water, travels a great distance. And this, you know, half hour before dawn on a Sunday or whatever.
I don't think it
it's
occurs, I'm
disturbing a
going
lot
to be
of
honest
people.
with you. I don't think it occurs at a half an hour before dawn, okay?
Well,
Or occurs after dusk.
Somebody is shooting.
And if
before dawn.
somebody, and Carol, if somebody is out there hunting illegally, you have every right to call the DEC and report that at that time. But, you know, for me you're asking me to tell somebody who may only get 1 or 2 weekends a year that they can go hunting,
No,
that
I'm not
hunting,
saying-
excuse
I
me,
didn't mention weekends.
that they're.
I didn't mention weekends.
You did mention
No, we talked about one day as a, or just restricting, you know, the high-density area and leaving all the others completely open 7 days a week. So you're just thinking of it from your, in all due respect, you're a hunter, you're thinking of it from your point of view.
Well,
And I'm
yes.
just asking this board of trustees to consider the impact this has on the larger community and to think about whether there's an accommodation that can be made in the large populated areas. That's all, some accommodation. If you have a better idea that respects my
Well,
lifestyle
we
as
actually,
well
well,
as yours,
Carol, I
I'm all
think
ears.
I think it's fortunate, we have a member from the Sportsman's Alliance here tonight, and if I could, I would like to ask that gentleman to come up and talk, because there are two sides of this, and I hope I'm not going to make anybody mad by bumping their spot here, but if we could sort of
But I'd
balance,
like to take
sort of
animosity
balance
out
the
of it. I
time.
really would. This is not about my not
Well,
respecting what
I'm
you
not,
do.
there's no animosity, it's just, I'm going to
Well,
be
it's not to
quite-
say that it's
I
anti-hunting.
dis-
It's
I
not
dis-
anti-hunting.
I happen to disagree with your position, that's
Mm-hmm.
all.
No,
Well, you know, every water body in town has some areas that are more populated than others. And we do try to site the blinds in a way where they're safe. And
I'm
they-
sorry, if you don't use the microphone, the acoustics in here are just really bad.
You know, each water body in town does have areas that are more populated than others. And we do try to site the blinds in a way that considers the population. But when you have a large open water body, it does create a safe shooting field for the blinds, and that has to be our primary consideration. And we can't saturate one water body with too many blinds. So we do have an existing grid or map of blinds that are laid out in each water body, and they are carefully reviewed. And if someone is not responsible in using a blind, they lose their rights to that blind.
Well-
So we do try to maintain first and foremost, a safe program so that, the community at large is safe.
I understand.
In conjunction
We're
with
also-
hunting and,
We're surrounded by water. There seems to me that an accommodation could be made where you have your largest year-round population. And, I mean, I don't know how many noise complaints you get from people.
I haven't.
I don't know.
fielded-
Do you?
In 4 years, I haven't
I
fielded
feel,
one.
I'm the one that gets all of the hunting-related complaints. I had 2 last year.
Well, I've never complained about it, even if it, wakes me up or disturbs people or whatever. So,
May I just make a suggestion, as Ms. Buda would like us to discuss? I'd like to make a suggestion to our board members that maybe we have a discussion amongst ourselves. We are missing some of our trustees this evening, and we'll discuss what you have brought to us. I think that's
appreciate
fair. And see where we are as a board. But, we have, as both Rick and Jim have pointed out, the trustees have a responsibility to the traditions of our community and to the people who do hunt, public access. I, on the other hand, also understand that if you're having a barrage of noise, that we take that into consideration, and I think we'll discuss it as a board with our full board, and I hope that will be, at least something we can
appreciate that.
discuss.
And
I appreciate
honestly,
you coming in.
my intent is, hopefully, if you come to some accommodation, just some accommodation for the larger community, then I think the issue goes away. I think if you don't, the controversy will build.
All right, thank you for coming, Carol.
Thank you.
Dave, do you want to get up and say something? Well,
Thank you for this opportunity to speak on this again. My name is Stephen Griffiths. I am a member of the East Hampton Sportsmen's Alliance. In regards to this ban, which was brought to the town board quite a while ago, and they voted 4-1 against it. As hunters and sportsmen alike in East Hampton, we are made up of, many of the trades: electricians, plumbers, painters, carpenters, masons, truck drivers, politicians, stockbrokers, store clerks, landscapers, police officers, commercial fishermen, dispatchers, DPW workers, school teachers, town employees, lawyers, and business owners.
And lots of firemen.
I'm getting to that point.
Okay.
Did you say you weren't prepared for this?
Well, I'm just reading what I brought, but
I'd hate to see you when you were prepared.
many of whom are volunteer firemen, volunteer ambulance personnel, Boy Scout leaders, volunteer youth coaches, and many other community-oriented groups. And of course, many are grandfathers, fathers, mothers, daughters, sons of our community, some of which have been here for more than 12 generations. Some of these hunters hunt all different seasons. Some only hunt a few. I guess now we'll just talk about waterfowl hunting, since the other ones didn't go through. Some of these town residents, well, actually all these town residents that I know are year-round residents. They're not part-timers. If this ban goes through, I don't know if she mentioned the signatures they had, but Probably most of those signatures are from people who aren't even here during the winter. Anyway, the Sportsman's Alliance is totally dead against any kind of a ban. Yes, shotguns are allowed, but truthfully, they're not done every day. Sometimes it may be one shot during the day. Sometimes it may be 10. Some days, not at all. Even if the wind's blowing right, you don't even hear them, right? And they say half hour before sunrise, yes, that's when you're allowed to shoot. But a lot of times in waterfowl hunting, if like in Thrima Harbor and other point, you have a lot of divers, and not very many puddle duck. Divers don't start to fly until after the sun comes up. So more times than not, it's not even close to sunrise. If they do, like Jim says, if they do hear shots before half hour sunrise, before sunrise, they're shooting it illegally, and they're not hunters, they're poachers. So don't think a hunter is a poacher. There's a lot more to hunting than what you think. I'll give you an example. I'm sorry, I don't do a very good job at this, but my son started hunting when he was 12 years old. When he was about 14 or 15, he started shooting competitively. It took him to college for 4 years with a scholarship for shooting. Just got back from the United States National Championship yesterday, where he came in second place in one of the events. That's, open division. So there's a lot more that comes out of hunting than just hunting. A lot of good family time, fathers, sons, fathers and daughters, wives, everything. This is something we've been doing for a very long time. I don't know why people want to move to this town, because they like it. Then after a few years, they want to change it. If you don't like it, why'd you move here? We've been hunting here for years and years. Now all of a sudden, you come here, you think you're a big shot, you want to change everything. Well, I don't think you should change it for nobody. That's the way it is. That's the way it should stay. That's my opinion. Anything else?
No, I think you said enough.
All right, thanks.
Hey, thanks.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Clear something up, because some of the people who've been involved with the petition together,
If you can, just come up to the mic, please.
the implication that everybody who wants to see this change didn't grow up here is wrong, okay? Some of the people involved have grown up here, and there are different reasons why people are upset by the hunting, the gun noise. It affects different people have different problems from it, but that, that's not the issue. It's just, I want to be clear on that.
Okay. Anthony Balducci?
How you doing, everybody? I'm Dave Bennett. This is Anthony. We're here in reference to 7 Crooked Highway. Rick and Susan came out for an on-site visit last week, and I think that we have an idea that's going to work for you guys, so we just wanted to go over that.
Yep. Susan and I met with Mr. Bennett at 7 Crooked Highway, and they had installed a rather modest cobblestone apron at the base of the driveway, which is off of their property and on trustee property, but it is recessed into the woodland reserve. It's not out in the roadbed. So the roadbed is integral, and it does service other houses beyond 7 Crooked Highway. And they did a nice job. It's just a very basic, modest apron. But we did notice that they probably should do a little bit of an improvement up on their property with a little bit of a drainage system, so that water won't start to erode down and impact the roadway. So we talked about, I believe it was called like a French drain.
It's a 6-inch French drain
A
with a
6-inch
little catch
French
basin.
drain going on the private property upland of the apron with some catch basins
This is a
associated
trench
with it.
drain across
Yeah,
the
yeah,
whole
it's a trench.
driveway.
Yes,
Can I make a suggestion?
sure.
Try and steer clear of that. I haven't looked at the area or the size of the drain. Those drains are very prone to just clogging up with leaves, especially this time of year. And in the water, it just sheets right past it. It may actually be better to actually catch the water, like crown your road a little bit, catch the water off to either side.
On the sides?
Put it into a drainage structure. It will, in all likelihood, work better and may cost you less money to do it.
Okay, so just 2 catch basins on the side and
Yeah,
fill 'em
drain,
in.
you know,
Yep.
do it like a 12-inch by 12, you know, you probably don't want one of these massive things, but it should get sized relative to the
Yep.
size of your driveway and how much water you are putting down there.
Okay, so yeah, we have one spot that slopes back down towards the property, and then it's really not that much, maybe 50 feet, that actually slopes back down towards the Trustee Road. So, you know, two 12-inch
Yeah. you
on the
probably-
sides, if you guys, that's what you want, I'm more
Yeah,
than happy to do
we
that.
talked about, and then dressing the side of the cobblestone with some gravel, because that's where we started to see the erosion. And we saw some of this on Edwards Hall Road and a couple other places. So we just want to avoid
Yep,
an issue down the road, or for these gentlemen are in contract to sell the house, so that the buyer gets into, you know, a working situation with a good relationship with the trustees. And, you know, we'll probably follow up with the buyer and see how it's working and, you know, see if anything else is required.
okay,
But we do appreciate, you know, your forthright approach, coming to us, trying to work through this, and, you know, making a good faith effort to get it laid out properly.
okay.
And so, you guys are going to,
So I can cone it and then put 2 12-inch drains with a catch basin on
Yeah,
either
yeah.
side.
Do you have dry wells or anything on your?
We do, but the driveway's 600 feet up, and the dry wells don't start till we hit the property.
Okay.
so then, you know, we would want you guys to take some pictures, you know, bring your survey in, indicating where it is on the survey.
Okay,
And before the next meeting, Susan and I will come back out and do a visit with you.
okay, great.
You know, you guys
So,
should probably just come back one more time at the next meeting, so
Now-
we're all clear.
Unlike the town, couldn't he just write on a survey
I think so.
opposed to having it done professionally? Is that all right, Jim?
Yeah.
Okay.
I would-
yeah, that will save us, definitely. So,
Exactly.
Yep,
Yeah.
appreciate it.
All
Yeah,
right, so
sure.
if you
Yep.
could do that,
Just no napkins. Do it
Yeah,
on the
yeah,
survey.
give us a
Gotcha.
call so we can stop by before the next meeting.
Cool.
Okay, great,
I'd
thanks,
like to
guys.
visit and have
Appreciate
you
it.
guys come back just to make sure everyone's clear.
Okay, thanks again, guys.
Thank you very much.
Mark? I'm sorry, Peter. Right church, wrong pew.
Hi, Peter Mendelman. I'm not here to talk about the hatchery like my brother Mark. So, real quickly, I have some photos. We have a piling at Harbor Marina up near Gann Road that started falling over. And I just I spoke with Keith Grimes, Inc., about when the barge was next coming to the harbor, because it has to be replaced. It's tied off with a line now to prevent it from falling into a sailboat. Let me,
Thank you.
Actually, no, who's this? John and Francis. Oh,
So, Keith Grimes, Inc. is going to be in the harbor in a few weeks with their barge. They don't come very often. The existing piling is an older CCA piling. It probably dates from, I don't know, 20 years ago. It's probably neck down at the mud line, and it's just wobbly. And we've got it tied off and stabilized. It's marked in the pictures on the survey, and it's just marked from 2 different angle photos. Not a big deal. We've typically in the past been asked to give a letter to the trustees saying we intend to replace this piling with an untreated green heart piling, which I've submitted, but I'd be happy to come back and answer any questions or do whatever we need to do to try to get this done.
It's kind of
Just
straightforward.
replacement.
I don't know, do you want to, somebody want to make a
Make a
motion to
motion.
vote
I'll
on
make a
this now?
motion to approve this.
And I'll second it.
And I'm going to recuse myself.
Okay.
Naturally.
Okay.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Yeah.
Thank-
He's gonna replace it.
Do you have any other work you have to do at the same time?
We will, we're going to come back, my brother and I, to talk about, like, give our kind of annual update
Yeah,
as to
the-
what's going across the other four
Pretty much
marinas.
fits under the permit we would,
Yeah,
annual permit.
yeah, we don't, I know we're going to be talking about the moorings coming up soon. We're still interested in doing that, maybe gradually adding another one. We have to look and see how actually they got booked. Haven't really done the analysis yet. We don't have any major projects right now in the queue, but because we've just been so busy that we haven't had time to design and think and get the permits in place to do it. So this winter's probably going to be a fairly quiet winter.
This looks fine, and if you have anything else you need to do that's of minor nature, please just let us know.
Will do. Okay. All right, thank you.
Yep, thank you.
Thanks for coming.
Always a good job.
New business. Accabonac Hog Creek.
Okay, I have not had an opportunity to look at this, Susan. The Neal property located at 29 Louse Point Road. Since I just got the new agenda today.
So you wanna wait
So,
till,
Susan, you said you have the survey and so forth for it?
put it off till
Yeah,
the
the,
next time
the,
we meet?
The application will be before
the zoning board
the,
tomorrow evening, which I will attend that, and I'm going to go to,
it's just for a dormer addition.
It doesn't really sound like we're really going to have much in the way of an interest here.
Yeah, it's existing decking and
well, they want to replace in kind a deck, so I thought I would just attend the meeting anyway to hear
All right.
what the
This
zoning
is-
board,
This is on for tomorrow night?
for tomorrow evening.
for tomorrow evening.
And they want to reconfigure entry stairs on a parcel of land containing freshwater wetlands, tidal wetlands, and surface waters. So in addition to the entry stairs and existing decking, replace and in kind, I thought I should attend the meeting. And,
This is all though on the house. The stairs are not to the water.
well, the deck, existing deck, but it says that it's
I don't have.
to reconfigure on a parcel of land that contains freshwater wetlands, tidal wetlands, and
Yeah.
surface waters.
Well,
Typically, we,
Susan, I don't know that we have an application, trustee application for this. This is
No.
a ZBA.
Yeah, this is the
adjacent
only thing that
property
I
owner,
have.
right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, we wouldn't have an application here.
Yeah.
So the
Yeah.
stairs aren't in
Just to see how,
Yeah.
wetlands?
Well,
well, here,
Water like that.
again, this is from the ZBA, and it says, "To construct an approximately 100-square-foot dormer addition," which is not in our purview, "and replace, in place, in kind, 808 square feet of lawfully existing decking, and reconfigure entry stairs on a parcel of land containing freshwater wetlands, tidal wetlands, and surface waters." So it seems that we may have an interest in this,
Maybe.
and maybe,
Doesn't sound like it, but maybe.
no? So I was ready to go and
Okay,
listen.
no, I think it's.
You know,
yeah, I think.
more
we're-
information we
well
have.
It's well worth
Yeah.
visiting. I mean, if it's at all possible on these in the, in the future, if we can get noticed earlier, that way you can make a determination real quick, so you don't find yourself having to go to ZBA hearings.
Okay. Well, I think tomorrow what I'll do is during the day, I'll go into,
Stop in,
The-
look at the
yes.
file.
yes.
Good.
mhm.
Yeah, it doesn't look like, according to the survey, the decking is
Did you obtain the survey from the planning department or
from the building department.
from the building department?
Yeah, and the wetlands are back here, the decking that they're proposing to replace, I'm assuming is this section right here.
Okay.
The stairs.
Notice notice of complete application for natural resources special permit received for the property owned by Brad Wolk, 14 Fenmarsh Road, Suffolk County Tax Map 300-39-01-07. Have we had a chance to do anything with this?
I have not.
It's
just
not
seeing it for the
something
first time
It's
today.
not something that's coming up anytime soon. It's just been noticed that they do have a complete
Okay.
application. So do you guys
All
want
right, so I'll go,
take
let's table this for the moment, and then tomorrow when I go into the planning department, I'll see what I can find out about this property for when it does come up.
Susan, at next meeting, if you can just fill us in on how the Neal application went and whatever your findings are here.
I will do that.
All right.
Okay.
Aquaculture?
All right. I am speaking on behalf of John Aldred, who this evening is at the Coastal Resiliency Program with Francis Bach. So he's asked me to read the resolution of correction for the Scallop resolution, which he read at our last meeting. So the resolution, there's a notice of correction, and it reads as such. Whereas the resolution by the East Hampton Town Trustees delaying the opening of Scallop season in trustee waters until November 4th, 2019, and published in the East Hampton Star on October 24th, 2019, and October 31st, 2019, contained an error in that it stated that trustee bushel bags must be utilized by all scallop harvesters. And whereas Chapter 213-10P of the Town Code specifies that no person shall possess shellfish for commercial purposes unless enclosed in a bushel bag or other authorized container, and whereas Chapter 213 does not specify that commercial or recreational scallop harvesters use trustee bushel bags exclusively, now therefore be it resolved that this notice corrects the erroneous language in the aforementioned resolution. Trustees of the freeholders and commonality of the town of East Hampton, Francis J. Bach, clerk. So I'd like to make a motion that we pass this correction that has been added to the resolution. And someone will second that?
I'll second it.
Okay. Everybody?
And then what do you do, contact the star? or-
It's all,
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so,
Good.
okay, so approved. All right. And Susan, you approve, yes? Okay.
And who will contact the star? Thank you.
And there you go. All right. Thanks, you're welcome. One other thing for the aquaculture, this is with, again, it's the DEC with Zachary Schuler and Deborah Barnes. John had submitted a letter to both Debbie and Zach that last year the town trustees identified the northern closed area of Accabonac Harbor as a candidate for inclusion in the conditional shellfish harvest program. To that end, we cooperated in the 2018-2019 water sampling regime necessary to consider the area for inclusion in the program, and we would like to continue working with the DEC to complete the testing necessary to accomplish this inclusion.
Sorry, Susan, what are you
Yes.
calling that?
Oh, this is for the shellfish harvest program, conditional shellfish harvest program.
rainfall condition, the shellfish program.
Sorry?
It's the rainfall condition.
Yes,
program, right?
okay, that was just in the subject line here. So John has been working on the rainfall and submitted the information. The DEC will be getting back to John with I don't have them because it was a thread, but he sent information regarding that, and he's also going to be looking at rainfall targeted sample for Sunset Cove as well. So that's where we are at the moment, and we are going to try and open, our hope is to open up the northern end of Accabonac for shellfish harvesting, if everything proves to be in order with the sampling of the water. And let's see, we are participating for another year. The data analysis is from last year. It is still being conducted. And that's what I have to report.
Okay. Let's see, 3 Mile Harbor, an application was received from John McGinn and Carrie Davis for bulkhead repair and permission to construct a new dock at their property located at 275 3 Mile Harbor, Hog Creek Road, Hog Creek Highway. Suffolk County tax map 300-75-1-32.2.
Does it say new dock or a
That's a good, that
This
is a
is,
good question.
John Aldred and myself went down here, and this is here's a picture of the bulkhead, the way it looks, and it's, this is a property located just south of East Hampton Point.
Mm-hmm.
A couple things down here. The bulkhead needs replacement. It definitely does. I mean, you can see from the photographs. They're proposing to put a new dock in an area where
Is there a dock there now?
there's no dock there now. No, it's an area that is not prohibited by our past resolutions. This is going to take, John and I both agreed that the bulkhead definitely needs to be repaired and replaced. But the dock is going to involve a lot of discussion and stuff, so
Yeah, because it does say new dock.
John and Francis are both at the
Coastal Resilience
at the
Workshop.
Coastal Resilience Workshop at the moment. So I think we should table this till the next meeting.
Well, then also, what are your feelings on, where is the applicant in the permit process with the other agencies?
I think they wanted to come to us first. He's,
Okay, well,
so-
typically on something like this, we would be letting the DEC, who really should be the lead agency here, take the lead and get some reaction from them. Because for us to issue permits on something like this unilaterally, without the ZBA, without the DEC, in all likelihood, there'll be probably some modifications at the very least to this, that we would then force the applicant to come back to us with modifications. So it might be better to table this for the time being, reach out to the applicant's agent, see where they are in the permit process, and report back at the next meeting and see where we want to take this at this time.
so Rick Whalen's office is,
Landmark?
Yeah.
yeah.
I have a question.
Is he propose to
Go ahead.
make a presentation to us or anything, or?
Well, I would think that we would ultimately want that,
Yeah.
but I think we're a little ahead of the game here right
Yeah.
now.
I agree.
I know there's a section of 3 Mile Harbor that does not allow for.
Yeah, but I don't think this is in.
not in that section.
Okay, okay,
That's what,
That was my question, too.
yeah.
no, this is in an area that there's no existing prohibition on new docks,
Okay.
okay, but,
So they're in a decent position then,
so this is gonna involve a
a
lot of
lot.
discussion.
Okay.
So there's a motion to table it?
Motion table?
I'll second it.
Aye.
Old business, opening of Georgia Pond. I can report on that. We had tentatively, I believe, at the last meeting, scheduled the opening to be this past Monday. Couple things came into play there. One, if anybody's paid attention to which way the wind's been blowing for the last 2 weeks, it's been predominantly east, which it started to come around to today. Second to that is the dredging of the north bottleneck, which has been going on for the last week, is not yet complete. Now, we had a discussion Saturday evening about giving the contractor for the Friends some additional time, which I don't see as a problem right now, simply because the weather conditions, the wind conditions are not ideal. We usually like to let Georgia go when we've got a wind out of the northwest, preferably. It looks like by the end of the week, once that storm blows through on Thursday, The wind's going to come around west on Friday, northwest on Saturday, so it looks like we're going to be in a good situation on Friday to perhaps do this. Chris, can you do us a favor on this one? Sure. Thank you. Not you. What do you need? No, Chris, you're not going to publish the date we're opening it.
Oh.
Thank you.
Who do we have doing the dredging?
There's no dredging.
It's a,
Well, you're talking about the letting or the
Letting it.
dredging? The dredging is being done by a contractor, Joe. Marine Network. Yeah, he's at a Riverhead area.
that's been ongoing.
It's been ongoing. He had some difficulty with getting some of the equipment to the site initially, then had some equipment problems on the site. He's now actually gaining some real ground here, and we would very much like to see this project,
Yeah, we've been-
completed successfully.
The
you know.
bottleneck has been
This was,
worked on for.
yeah, this was the same
years.
project that, due to some contractor errors, it had to be aborted last year, so.
Looks like we've moved some material.
Yeah, we've moved a lot of material, but we'll know as soon as we let the pond, just how well, how well this has gone. And the dredging contractor will be out of the pond by day's end on Thursday.
And the opening will take place sometime after that.
Looks like it's gonna be Friday. Saturday's conflict with a wedding and some other things, and I don't want this to go until next week.
That'd be nice, we should have this time to get it.
Along those lines, 7L1.
We need to extend the resolution that Bill Taylor made granting the clerk permission to open the gut until November 1st, I think it was, just in case.
I don't think it was to the first.
I think I wrote down the 1st, but if it was the 3rd,
Okay.
and,
You write down whatever you need to write down,
well, maybe he
Yeah,
can
we'll
just say it again till the 3rd, just in case, so,
okay,
yeah.
all right? Next, committee reports. Is that what
I think I already addressed this for aquaculture, so we
aquaculture.
can pass over that.
Okay,
That we are continuing to work with the DEC and trying to open the Aquabonic North.
beaches. We have,
July,
That's
we have
why,
a closeout of the additional work that was done at Zweig. Sarah, do you want to just ring me in the morning? Sure. And we'll go over. Thanks. And I have some pictures of that. It's still kind of funky sand, but it is done.
I don't think I brought the before and after pictures, that was one.
No, I actually have,
Okay, good.
should
'cause I
have
don't-
pictures here. I know I left the house with them. Here we go. Okay. This is Zweig completed. They've got, they basically rebuilt a bit of that dune where it had washed out and a lot of the beach grass had died. But these pictures were taken after that heavy rain the other day, so there's quite a bit of rilling in there. I was gonna contact the contractor and see if they wanna go over there and
Break it out or fill it in.
touch it. Yeah, it's really handwork at this point. But if anybody's been down to the beach, some of the other properties down there are in a little bit of
yeah, it was down there.
tough shape. We've got 171 Lily Pond, actually is held up pretty good. It's got the same rilling that Zweig has, and it's just got a little bit of damage to their sand fencing, and I can contact the client or the contractor on that. One that took a major hit was 199 Lily Pond, excuse me. And 199 has kind of lost all of its snow fence
Nice pictures, by the way.
I don't know whether you want to look at that.
Quality.
Has lost all of its snow fence, and I think I found most of it. It's down by Zweig, and again, we'll contact the agent on that one. And this is not the first time that snow fence has gotten washed out. If you recall, when it was initially done, it was done incorrectly initially. It washed out at the first storm. It had to be replaced, and we're back to needing to replace not only the snow fence, but this is what it looked like after it was done. There's quite a bit of beach grass that needs to be redone, but it was easy to track down whose snow fence it was by the stakes that were used.
Strong wind.
211, I'm moving from east to west here.
199 is the property of,
I don't know who owns the property. It's
can't
one-
remember the name.
Yeah.
All right, but
That is, that's in pretty good shape. And the only thing they have is they've got just a little bit of snow fence damage. Again, I was going to reach out to the agent for the applicant. And then we've got a couple of revetments that were not permits, that probably we should reach out to and advise them that, that their properties right now are not in compliance with their permits because they haven't restored their sand in quite some time.
Jim, it's great to see more homeowners working with the trustees on their restoration projects on the beach. So it's nice to see some progress where we're working with the community on these projects.
Well,
I'd like
and
to
it's,
see
and it's
more-
good, we did
more
get an
property
application.
owners, participating. It's really important.
We did
So
get it.
all homeowners out there along the beach, please work with us on these projects.
Thanks. We did get an application, I think, from Rainers,
Yeah,
the
Rainer-
last meeting.
Eric Brown came in.
Yeah, and that one there, if anybody's been down there, they've got, you know,
It was major.
yeah, it's unfortunate on that one because they really, really did a good job on that, you know, on that job when they did it.
Well, they're in a tough spot there, and they've been very good partners on this project.
So, could I make a motion then at this time concerning July?
Yes, please.
Okay, I'd ask that you allow me to make a motion to close out trustee permit B, number 4-19, issued to M. Zweig, owner of 11 West End Road, Suffolk County Tax Map number 301-15-04-06.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, education, Susan?
The Chamber of Commerce Fall Festival, the last one of the season. We had a terrific day, weather held up, and we earned ourselves not as much as some of the other events, but all in all, it was $185 that we added to the Captain William J. Rysam Scholarship Fund. So it was fun, and we don't have to do it until next spring.
Cool.
As far as schools are concerned, I have reached out to a few and just trying to get some dates lined up for visitation. But it's been a hectic fall. So I will follow up on the visits to the schools. And again, this year, Ashley Oliver from the East Hampton Shellfish Hatchery would be delighted to join us to present her shellfish hatchery display for the kids. So, thank you.
Let's see, Georgia Ponds Committee, request to close out trustee permit HP, pound 31-18, issued to Perella, 43 Turble Lane, Suffolk County Tax Map 301-1310-5 for core log replacement. I think we had, actually, some time ago, we had some pictures that were submitted on this. I think they, here we go.
Yeah,
We'd like to,
Oh, you got them?
yeah, if we'd like to, here, if you want to hand them out
Yeah.
that way, here you go.
Oh, yeah.
Do they like expand when they get wet?
A little bit, not
Yeah.
much.
Looks like vomit.
Jeez.
Well, I've heard them described as a dinosaur turd, but
Yeah, I'll take that too. Thank you, Jim.
All right, good thing we're not having dinner tonight here. They do look like worms.
It looks
large
like some of the
caterpillars
logs
or
are
something, right?
the water side of vegetation,
are
and some
bigger
of them
than
have vegetation between them and the water.
well, he did do some emergent vegetation. Keep in mind, this project was done when the pond was fairly low. So at this point, the water has kind of creeped up, and we're basically got real high water in the pond now. But
The shoreline looks pretty healthy.
yeah.
Limes.
This was a pretty good job. The only issue I had, and it wasn't a major one, is they used like 1-inch by 1-inch stakes, which really aren't, you know,
Not
really
quite
have
up
much
enough.
meat to
Yeah,
them,
not quite up
but I
enough.
think for the application, it's fine.
Oh, look good. You want to see that?
Does somebody want to make a motion to close this one out?
Perella? I'll make a motion to close it out. Perella at 43 Turbo Lane for core log placement.
I will second that.
Okay, let's see. Number 2, request from,
We didn't vote.
oh, we didn't vote? Well, shit.
No,
man,
I made the
we're
motion.
really good.
Rick seconded. So, all in favor?
I'm in favor, yes. Request from Walter Weil, 92 Georgia Close Road, Suffolk County Tax Map 301-12-1-7.1 to close out trustee permit GP 14-17 for Phragmites excavation, removal, and wetland restoration.
I've been down to the property a couple of times, and it's a beautiful property, and it has a great deal of shoreline along the pond. And it's really a nice project, you know, to see a real natural shoreline like this, where the Phragmites was removed. We see a thoughtful planting along the water's edge, and, you know, the maintenance of a real wooded vegetation buffer. You know, there's hardwood trees, there's shrubs, and there's grass. So it's a nice, thick, healthy buffer. The Phragmites is pretty much completely removed from the entire shoreline.
Very pretty.
And I like these comprehensive approaches. You know, you don't have the stubble patch of the hand cutting for years, and you get right into a proper planting, which, you know, just looks so much nicer. So, you know, I think it's very well done. They also had an upland dry well put in that I went back to make sure that was completed. That was done, and it's in line with the site plan. There is something that's a little unique to this project that we may see more of in the future, is a little bit of wildlife fencing, which is in the water of the pond.
Yeah, I thought that was unusual, but
And the purpose
serves a
of
good
it
purpose.
is to prevent geese and other waterfowl
Coming out.
from eating all of the new vegetation. So, you know, the idea is if you're planting in the fall, you put the wildlife fence in, and it protects it during the winter season when the waterfowl are really hungry and will pretty much eat, you know, everything in sight. But we should have some guidelines for removal of the wildlife fencing.
So there's no specific date right now that says, we don't have a specific date that we
No,
say
so
to
perhaps we could.
homeowners?
Actually, we don't have any language in our permits. Hey, guys, I got to recuse myself from the voting on this. I was the contractor on this
Oh,
job.
okay, all right.
Okay,
Well,
Did we get approved, did we approve this fence?
this is really our first discussion about wildlife fencing. So, you know, I think.
I've never seen it before, but I think it's an excellent idea if it's protecting the new vegetation that was put into place. You don't want to have it eaten up and then have to go through the process
That's the general idea,
again.
but I think we do need to create some language where this is used in a responsible manner. And, you know, in the summer months when people are sailing and recreating, you know, we'd also want to be considerate of duck blind placement, you know, so that all user groups are represented.
So if we don't have any language for this, was permitted, though, with the idea of putting the fence in the water?
no.
Yes?
Okay,
No?
I'm going to be honest. The
So it's a
reason this.
new concept?
No, it's not a new concept by any means.
Well, I
In
mean,
fact,
something new
in
that we're
fact-
doing.
In fact, it's a
Yes.
pretty commonplace option when you're doing wetland restoration. You're putting in these little 2-inch plugs, which are easily dislodged by geese and puddle ducks. And we did this when we did the planting originally for the explicit purpose. At that time, there was some 200 geese parked directly across the cove from this, and we knew that if we didn't do something, all of the material would be gone in a couple of days.
That makes perfect sense.
Typically, now, we approved this on another project over at 94 Appaquag for exactly the same purpose. Now, I think the concerns I think our board should have is this fence to prevent wildlife from entering the property, or is this fence there to prevent the public from entering the property? So I think what does need to be done here is you've got to establish some real guidelines in terms of the term, how long this fencing can stay in place. I would recommend that it stay in place either until it's dislodged by the ice in the winter or by no later than April 1st in the spring. At that point there, whatever's established should be well established enough to stand on its own. And
The
that
other
way,
food sources and stuff.
So, and the other thing is, I think in the future, now that this is something that's a practice we've seen and has
And it
a
works.
purpose, that it should be part of the original application going forward. So if someone's planning or considering using this, I think it should be part of
That
the
it-
application
yes,
going forward.
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah, April 1st seems like a good day.
Yep. Should be removed prior to April.
It's April Fool's Day.
Well, prior to.
Yeah. No, I think it's a very good idea, especially if people are spending a fortune to revegetate and do all the work that's necessary. Why not protect their property? But if it's
When you
just
see a
to
project,
prevent geese from coming up onto a lawn or something, then it would not be utilized, I'm assuming.
this was
right?
clearly a pretty substantial project. The applicant invested quite a bit into preserving the natural state.
No, it
of the
makes sense to
property.
me.
yeah.
So-
And keep in mind, when this was done, that fencing was dry ground. When we did this job, we actually had to water those plantings for a little over a month until the pond got up high enough where they were actually getting water out of the sand was getting moist. So,
Are there any further questions about this at this time?
No, I would love to go see it, just because it's new to me.
Yeah, it's
I mean,
it's
is
an
that
interesting project.
possible to drive down to Georgia Close Road?
You'd have to probably check with the
walk through the
applicant
property.
Right.
for that, because,
need
you know,
that.
with the permit will be closed out.
Looks like a beautiful
process
spot,
Probably,
too.
so, you can paddle there if you want to go paddling sometime, I'd be happy to
Yeah.
take you.
Oh,
I think they
good.
called last
Well-
week. I think they're looking to get a CO or do something. They've already
No,
checked.
we did wait a little bit to make sure that the dry well was put in, and I made a second visit back to visit the site a second time, and the dry well was put in the proper place on the property.
Now, does that become part of the project with you or any other person who's installing this, that they would put it, it's not really something that we as trustees need to be concerned about, but if they bring in a contract to have this work done, would the contract then stay that they would be responsible for, not just our permit, but the contract with the person who's doing the
Well,
work?
Listen, if it's included in the permit,
Permit, then it's included in the contract.
Included.
Should be
Okay.
completed, so. You know, after the 2 visits and reviewing the property pretty carefully, having extensive photography on it, I would like to make a motion to close this permit
And I'll
out.
second it
Subject to the fencing being removed, the wildlife fencing being removed
by April
April.
1st.
by April 1st.
Okay, so I will still second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
if I can just put all of those, keep them in the...
Yep, you have the master?
No, no,
Oh, I've
keep
got the
that-
master.
You've got the whole file on there,
Yep.
you can keep it all together. Application was received from the Creeks for a Phragmites management permit for 291, 253, and 249 Montauk Highway, Suffolk County Tax Map Numbers 301-6-1-9, 301-7-3-2, and 301-7-3-3. We actually received this application over a month ago. We have yet to be able to get a meeting. What we're trying to do here is, this is a property that we've had considerable issues with violations in the past. Some of the remediation work that was originally proposed apparently has been done. This is all upland, so there was no need to notify the East Hampton Town trustees on it. But before we move forward with a management program, we would like to be able to visit the property with our committee, and also the Village of East Hampton has an interest in this one as well. That hasn't occurred yet, so as soon as that happens, we'll have more to talk about here. So I'd like to table this at the time.
It'd be nice to get our whole ponds committee
Yeah,
to
yeah.
attend this one if we can.
So you'll be reaching out to them?
We, I believe, already have, I think what do you call it? Billy Hayjack has already reached out to them. We haven't heard from him yet.
Okay.
So that's tabled for the moment.
Okay. Harbor Management Committee, Clearwater Beach Property Owners Association, closeout of the 2018 dredging permit. You want to report on that?
Yeah, we had a follow-up meeting with members of Clearwater Beach and Lionhead. We reviewed their activities, the dredging, and had a nice discussion about some future opportunities for a watershed management plan for Hog Creek. There's a big interest in their community in continuing to do more environmental work on the pond, and possibly, looking to CPF and other sources to maybe do some environmental dredging in the water body, in addition to other remediation planning. We did review the dredging activities that took place for the 2018 permit, and we went back and forth on it a little bit, and I think we've kind of come to an agreement that the dredging quantity that was to be accounted for the 2018 permit was going to be 700 yards. And we went over some different formulas and measurement methodologies and had some discussions at the table at the clubhouse over there. And, I think we all came to a reasonable place. And, I think the committee was comfortable with that position. And we'd like to close out this permit and move forward with some, other
Yeah,
options.
I would suggest, Rick, that we wait and close this permit out when we've gotten this paid for the 700 yards. And,
Okay.
and.
You want to hold that?
And I think we should hold back till we've gotten a check on the 700 yards. And then what we've got to do is we've got to have a draft permit for
The next time.
2019 laid out. And what we did, the way we laid this out with them is this way, is if the sand that they first, when they do their excavations this year coming, the sand will be stockpiled on site. Some of it may be at Lionhead, some of it may be over at Clearwater. The piles will be measured and a quantity of material will be agreed upon. At that time, the Clearwater Association will either ship that sand over to Girard Drive, where we need sand, at no cost to the trustees, and we will not charge them for the sand. Or if they have people within their community that are sand starved, those members of the community will have the opportunity to buy that sand for $7.50, which is our going rate, and they will pay the trustees, and they will pay whoever the contractor is to distribute, to deliver and distribute the sand on those beaches.
Let me interrupt you just
Or
one second. I'm taking just a note. In addition to the residents who have the opportunity to purchase sand if they need it, it will go between Clearwater Beach Homeowners Association and Lions Head, and where else
No.
would we
No, that's,
No, hold on.
distribute,
So
stockpile?
the sand can be put on a public beach. The transportation and spreading cost is borne by the association. A private property owner in need of sand in the littoral drift area
Right,
could
Purchase
also
it.
purchase the sand.
right, but there was another
they would-
beach that you mentioned that,
There could be, it could be put on the, well, that's the public beach.
Right.
That's the
Right, right.
closest public beach. The other opportunity is if they do want to put it on their own beach, the association beach, they can choose to do that and pay the trustees for the sand. And Lionhead has the same options as well.
Right.
So it really applies to both of the communities. So we wanted to try and create some options for them.
No, I'm clear on,
So if
I'm
they didn't
clear on
need-
Clearwater and Lions Head. I just didn't
Right.
have the Gerard Drive in my
Right, well, those are,
notes.
to create some options for them. So
Good.
if they
So-
didn't need sand and they have a threshold for stockpiling, the sand could be put in properly into the littoral drift.
Right,
So
all
that-
good,
That was the idea.
all good.
So we had some good discussions.
Good. And I met someone who was on their board at the other evening, last week, he and his wife,
Yeah.
so.
All right. We're all good with that?
Jim, given the couple different moving parts there, when we do work on the draft permit for 2019, I'd be happy to take a look at it and make
We'd
sure we have that
appreciate-
language
Chris, I'd appreciate
locked
it
down.
if
We will need you.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't want this one
And they
falling
have to-
between the cracks.
They have to get this done before December 31st, 2019, according to the DEC.
Yeah, so we should try and get a draft permit together for the next meeting.
Yeah.
Jim, what do you think? Is that a fair timeline?
That shouldn't be any problem.
You know,
And Chris, what I'll do is I'll sit down with you the next couple of days.
Yeah, perfect.
Good job.
I think we got there. It's a
Napeag,
nice group out there.
Napeag Lazy Point. Application from Devon Yacht Club located at 82 Bendigo, Suffolk County Tax Map 300-127-3-16 and 17 for jetty replacement. We have not inspected this property yet. I'll reach out to Jim Walker, their agent, and arrange to have that before our next meeting. Now, Arlene,
Yes.
on the next one, the Lazy Point, is this off the agenda?
Well, we're just waiting for a driver's license. so
We're just we're just waiting for
Yeah,
the documentation of
yeah,
residency.
so we'll skip that, yeah.
Okay,
So tabled.
okay. Next is roads. I think we did Anthony
Yes.
Balducci. Administrative, payment of bills. Montauk Anglers Club, $320.23. East Hampton Star, $245. Bistrian Materials, Inc., $1,562.50. That was for the emergency opening of Fresh Pond, which I have pictures of if anybody wants to see.
I would love to.
So do we have a motion
Yeah,
to
motion to pay the bill.
pay the bills?
I'll make a motion to pay the bills.
Second.
All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I have a question on the opening of Fresh Pond. Our superintendent of highways visited the site, deemed that there was an issue, and enacted the opening of the pond, or was that done via trustee action?
Well, actually, when you look, it was done by the highway superintendent, because he determined that the height of the pond created a hazard, created a hazard on the roads over at Albert's Landing.
Right.
So it was under that guise.
That guidance.
That we did the emergency
And as the
opening.
owners of that property, we
As-
bore the responsibility of letting it?
Yes.
These are great pictures. Where did you have these printed up?
I just did them on
You did them yourself?
my, whatever, office printer.
Oh, nice printer.
What's the paper quality?
Yes. I mean, it's glossy, nice thick paper.
It's still sticky.
Wow.
It's brand new, fresh off
Yes.
the presses.
Flooding.
Okay.
And actually, there is the picture there with the highway superintendent pointing the finger of blame at the operator of the equipment.
Well, you go a little too deep or a little too far?
No, actually, no, you know what? They cut something just wide enough, it opened itself out, it let pretty easily. They took all of the sand that was excavated, and they banked it up into that washout of the dune over the other side, so, it was all very responsibly
Pretty
done.
cost-effective
well done,
operation
yeah.
all in
Yeah,
all.
but realize, we still have a pretty significant dredging project over there
Right.
that's gonna need to be done.
Right.
Okay. Did we vote on the bills?
What was the,
Yes.
to let the fresh
Well, then we
pond, what was the
voted to
cost
pay
of
the
that?
bills.
Yeah, Susan McGraw, Bill Taylor, and I think everyone said it was
$15.50.
fine. Yep.
$1,562.15?
Yes.
Okay.
Minutes,
None. None to approve.
none to approve. Okay. Financial report. This is why we brought you back, Brian.
Yeah, I had an opportunity to look through them. They appear to be really in order. We should have gotten into the kayak business a long, long time ago. But that being said, all kidding aside, I would make a motion that we accept the financial report for the month ending September 30th, 2019.
Second.
Everybody? Aye.
I,
I have a question about the kayak racks, because we often go to Northwest, and Rick, you, I know, are there a lot. Have you seen a lot of the kayaks are just on the ground? They're not in?
yeah, I think after the last storm, they got moved around a lot.
When?
And historically, folks have enjoyed kind of free range with the kayaks down there. So I think there is going to be a little bit of an educational process to get people to manage the
Actually use
kayaks
them. A lot of people are
better
not
and
using them
understand how to
because-
use
Yeah,
the
well,
racks. And
yeah.
and it was a courtesy time frame, so I think people just kind of took them out of the woods and put some of them on the racks.
Right. At first, they were beautifully lined up, because I took pictures of them, but last week or so,
Yep.
they've been,
Yeah,
you know,
you may
out
need
on the
to
grass.
use some bungee cords or straps really to secure them,
Okay.
particularly in the fall with the kind of weather we've been having.
One other thing I'll say about kayak racks, people tend to leave these like heavy chains with locks throughout the winter, and they get all rusted, they're not usable anymore, and then we have to go down and cut them. So please, when you take your kayak away for the winter, take your lock with you. Give it a shot of WD, and you'll be all set.
That's a man with 6 years on the board.
Absolutely. Those friggin' locks. I didn't have a bolt cutter, so I took the rail and just slid them off. Yeah.
May I, we have more things to do, I'm sorry, I have something.
Financial statement from Naraki Smith ended December 31st, 2018. Did anybody look at that? I did not. Can we table that one?
Yeah.
The good thing is they didn't have any issues with anything in our financial report. The
Excellent.
auditor was happy.
Congratulations, Marlene and Lori, that's great.
Okay.
You're not going to prison.
Report of the clerk.
Only have two. I'm sorry, Jay. Go ahead.
Report of the clerk. Last scheduled meeting for December 9th. Do we want a second meeting in September? Town Hall will be available. Meet on Monday, December 23rd.
Gee, that's a tough one.
How do we all feel about that?
I will be leaving for the holidays on the 17th.
Okay, so you're not planning on making
I'm
that
not planning on
meeting,
making
whatever,
that one.
whatever happens.
But if we did it before then, I would be happy to attend.
Well, we have the
Well,
9th already,
We
Scott.
have a meeting on the 9th. If we did the following Monday, that would be the 16th. I think that might be a little too close together. Or we do, or we just go to the 13th, which is our next scheduled meeting,
The 13th?
the 13th of January.
Oh, that's several weeks then, 1, 2.
Yeah, usually, we haven't always done one in the end of December.
Yeah,
Because everyone's away.
winter's quiet.
It's just-
It's hard, that's a tough time.
Yeah, it's
Okay,
quiet.
so do we
23rd.
want to agree to,
Just have the 9th?
well, just have the 9th and then the next meeting on the 13th?
Do we have to have an organizational
And the
meeting
organization
before
will
then?
be
Well, that would be our
the 6th.
organizational.
No, the
meeting.
6th, the first we did last year.
Pardon me?
The organizational,
January
we
6th
can
is
do
the
the 6th, the
organizational?
first,
Yeah,
unless that's too soon for people's vacations.
yeah, I won't be here on the 6th.
Okay, you won't? Okay, 13th. It is.
I probably won't make the 13th.
Thanks for telling us in advance.
Okay,
All
Well,
right,
that's
so
right, you
I'm-
won't.
13th, yeah.
Yeah, the 13th. So do we want to make a motion for the,
January 13th?
and
Yeah.
only meeting for December is the 9th?
Okay. And the 13th?
And the 13th of January is
That's
the
a Friday,
organizational
right?
meeting.
All right.
13th of January
Somebody
is a
make a
Monday.
motion?
Oh, January,
No,
I'm
this is,
sorry.
I'll make a motion.
Okay, somebody want to second it?
I'll second it.
How do
All in
we,
favor?
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay.
I
If anybody
have-
has anything else,
Yes, I have something else I just want to run by us. This was in my, my
Oh, we can
folder.
leave that empty, we'll just say the
It's,
next.
you know, it's the Montauk Playhouse Community Center Foundation, and we received a letter that, to the office, and they're looking for support. Their mission is to build an aquatic and cultural arts center to help ensure Montauk's future, and wondering if we might make a donation to the group.
we are not in that business.
Okay, well, it just came in the mail, so I thought I would ask.
No, no,
Montauk
it's-
is our
it's-
neighboring
yeah.
community.
Montauk is our neighboring community, but we are not individuals in the habit of donating to organizations one way or the other.
Okay. The only reason I did bring this up, also the fact that it's in my folder, but that, you know, because we don't own properties in Montauk, I thought we might want to support it, and also I know that we support our museum, Marine Museum, so the answer
And
is,
historical.
thank you, we can donate on our own, if you would
Yeah,
like
donate individually, and
Yes.
it's a good thing for all our viewers to
to know that
know that there's.
Montauk Playhouse, okay. All right, so that's what they want to build. All right.
Anything else, Jim?
Motion to close.
That's it. We have a motion to close the meeting.
Motion to close?
Second?
How do we feel? Aye. Okay.
7:03.
The ayes have it.